Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Art and I wouldn't say it's another episode. This is the first of its kind. The first of Art and I honestly don't know what to call this series where I review the chapters of Lord of the Mysteries, because I did promise you guys that I will read it and that I will share my reactions to it. So here's the thing. I actually don't know how to do this, right? I don't think there's ever been people reacting to chapters of books before, right? That doesn't seem to be a thing. So because I see people doing book reviews and reviews of the overall book, not sharing how they reacted to chapters, like chapter by chapter and stuff like that. So I don't know how to call this. It's not necessarily a book review because, it's not. And I also wasn't sure how I should do it. I did record myself reading through the chapter 90 out loud, and it took me 30 minutes. I don't know if I'm just a really slow reader or if it's because I was also chatting in between talking about my reactions and stuff like that. But that was a thing. And I don't know. It just I don't think I'll do it like that. I don't know. If you guys like, I will definitely maybe I'll show you guys how I reacted and read that, but it doesn't seem like it will be interesting. So I'm just going to summarize the chapter and then tell you guys how I reacted to certain things. And so let's get on with it. So the first chapter, I started at chapter 90 because that's where I left off. And also I have absolutely no idea what's going on anymore. It started with saying Sir Deweyville, like mentioning Sir Deweyville's bedroom, because Klein is currently in his bedroom. And I was like, who the fuck is Sir Deweyville and why is Klein in his bedroom? In his huge ass bedroom that has its own freaking living room and bathroom. He only needs a kitchen and then it'll be an apartment. So I was like, who the fuck is he? So instead of, going back to the previous chapters and skimming through it to find out who Deweyville is, I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna wing it and get from context clues alone who the guy is. So turns out Sir Deweyville is actually the guy who he's the philanthropist guy who dropped his wallet, and old Neil picked it up because he was doing some spell and he needed some money for an out as an IOU for the goddess, and he showed it to Klein. Like, we saw that scene in the Donghua. So I was like, oh, so it's that guy, right? So okay. So I remember that he was actually having trouble sleeping because he is hearing noises from his bedroom. Moaning noises, sobbing noises, stuff like that. And I was like, moaning noises in his bedroom? I mean, why would you use that word in context to bedrooms? So, okay. Head out of the gutter, Faye. So, there was that thing. So, Klein was there as a psychological expert that's contacted with the police or whatnot because he was hired by the police. I don't remember, but there was he was working with the police here. Tola and Gate, I don't know who those guys are, but I guess they're relevant in this chapter, but I don't think I've heard of them in the Donghua. So I was like, okay. And then I thought, is this actually a test from Captain Dunes? Because I vaguely remember Captain Dunes saying to Klein that he needs to pass a test to become an official Beyonder, and we're still only in chapter 90. God knows how many chapters the first volume has. So I was like, is this a test? Because this scene or this overall chapter seems to have been glossed over or completely skipped from the Donghua, because I don't remember ever meeting Sir Deweyville outside of that one scene with old Neil, right? And we didn't even meet him, actually. I think we heard his butler, if I remember correctly, from the carriage. Anyway, so there's that. So Klein was like, okay, guys, it's time for work. I am going to start divining some shit. So he kicked out all of the patrons, but not before telling Sir Deweyville that he's mentally ill. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to let out a laugh at that. It's just, just saying it like that is kind of humorous. He told Deweyville that his illness is psychological, it's mental, and Sir Deweyville is like, "What? Do you want me to go to a mental asylum? What do you want?" And Clayton's like, no, it's okay. I will see what I can do. And also Sir Deweyville pointed out that how is it mental if his butler, his guards, his maids, whoever else can hear what's going on. So that's a fair point, logical point. So Klein is like, okay, there's two solutions to this. And he's like, one of them is me, doing Beyonder stuff, and the other is him, I guess, going to mental asylum. I don't know. I don't remember. But he's like, okay, guys, get out. Except you, Sir Deweyville. I need you here. So everybody got kicked out of Sir Deweyville's room. Sir Deweyville, I don't know what he's doing. Wait, was he kicked out? I don't remember. But Klein was like, I need to start doing the Beyonder shenanigans. So guys, get out. So they went out. Of course, he didn't say that he's gonna do Beyonder stuff because only the police guy knows about the Beyonder stuff, because again, the police is in cahoots with the Nighthawks and Beyonders. So, and also that's the reason why Klein was there. Also, while Klein was there, he's like, this would have been so much easier if it was given to a grave digger or, corpse collector or spirit medium like Miss Dally. So, yeah. So Klein started divining, and he realized that the people that are haunting Sir Deweyville are girls. And while I was reading that, I was thinking, oh my god, is Sir Deweyville on the Epstein list? So I was thinking that, goodness gracious, is he in there? So I continued to read, and Klein was like, hey, there's actually these 3 girls who died from lead poisoning, and they all worked for Sir Deweyville's factory. And Sir Deweyville has like a lead and porcelain factory, and he hires girls because they're cheaper labor. Of course, he's a billionaire for a reason. Well, billionaire philanthropist. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's rich, okay? And so he's like, Klein's like, okay, so these 3 girls are haunting him, but the types of death that they occurred is not resentful enough to manifest itself in the case that Sir Deweyville suffers through, right? So he continues to divine, and he saw that there's this one other girl, the last girl, Lafayette, who died. And we got a more, how do I call this? We got a more extensive description of how she died. So basically, Lafayette was a young girl who worked for the lead poisoning factory. Lead poisoning factory. It sounds like Sir Deweyville is poisoning all these girls on purpose. No, I mean she's working at Sir Deweyville's factory, and there's this policy that once you start getting headaches and symptoms of lead poisoning, you're basically gonna get fired, and you're not allowed to work there anymore because that makes sense. It's a health risk, and you don't want people dying on you all the goddamn time. It's bad for business, guys. So there's that. And when she went home, she found out that her father and her brother lost their jobs, and her mother is like, maybe it's time for us to move to the lower ring, or what do they call it? It's like a place that's like cheaper, right? And also, also one thing, this thing that really got to me is that she walks 5 kilometers to work, and I was like, doesn't 5 kilometers like take at least 2 hours to work, to walk? Yeah, so she walks to work, and her work is like 5 kilometers away from her. So yeah. Um, what was I saying? So Sir Deweyville, yeah. So she died. She actually asked her dad. So did you find a job, like a couple weeks later, I guess? And he's like, it's really hard finding a job because there's a recession going, even at the harbor. And I was like, dude, same. We are twinning here right now. So he's like, yeah, it's kind of hard to find a job. And she's like, okay. And then she went back to work, and that's when she died. She died on her way to work, and the last thing she saw was Sir Deweyville's carriage. And that's how the chapter ends, with her death. So yeah. And now we are going to go read the second chapter 91, not the second chapter, because we're already at chapter 90s. And yeah, it was a very interesting chapter. I still think that Sir Deweyville is evil, low-key. Klein is also thinking he's kind of probably evil, maybe. And because there's no good billionaires, I know he's doing philanthropic stuff, but most of the time that's because of tax cuts. It's always like that. So I was thinking at the beginning, oh, maybe Sir Deweyville is actually like that because he is getting cursed by Lady Sharon, because he is rich, right? He is powerful, and he is well connected, presumably. So she will definitely be targeting him. He seems like someone that she would definitely target for power. And I had this headcanon that, hey, maybe he actually has a dead wife, and that's why he's trying his best to resist Sharon's seduction, because he still loves his wife. And the only way for Sharon to, like, I don't know, get through to him is to slowly get him insane, basically, by not letting him sleep. So it's like torturing him, and in one way or another he's gonna start cracking, and that's when he will fall into her arms. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if he's connected to any of this, because this whole arc was never shown in the Donghua. Like, or did I miss that? Did they mention anything about this? Because I definitely do not remember this arc. Anyways, tell me guys what you guys thought. Let's get on with chapter 91. Okay, so we are now at chapter 91, solution. So we start off with, Klein waking up from looking into the past of those girls, and he realized how Benson worked so hard for Melissa and him to live in that rundown apartment they used to live in, right? So he also learned from Benson that the reason there was a recession was because of the southern continent. And I was like, what is going on at the southern continent? Like, where is that? Do we actually have a map somewhere? Did Cuttlefish give us a map at around this time to show where the southern continent is, how big it is, what's going on there? I'm gonna guess that we're gonna find out more. Or is the southern continent actually from Backland? Who knows? So Sir Deweyville was actually in that room with Klein, and Sir Deweyville was like, okay, aren't you going to ask me anything? Because Klein was just there thinking about, how Benson worked so hard to support his family. And so Sir Deweyville was like, are you gonna ask me anything? Because my psychiatrist, they talk a lot of shit, basically. And I was thinking, oh, psychiatrist, shit. What if the psychiatrist that he knows is actually also a beyonder? What if that beyonder is also manipulating him, right? So Sir Deweyville was like, but you know what? I actually slept really well right now. I don't know what you did, but please tell me. And Klein was like, I'll tell you in a bit, but I want to know, first and foremost, do you know anything about lead poisoning? And Sir Deweyville was like, kind of, yeah. I do know what it was. And he's like, are you telling me that the reason I'm having this mental breakdown, whatever psychological illness, is because I'm feeling guilty about the lead poisoning that's happening in my factory? And Klein was just like, yeah, yeah, basically. And Sir Deweyville started, explaining himself that he does know about the lead poisoning, and he does his best to compensate the workers, and that he has this thing that if they start, having if the workers start having signs of lead poisoning, they're supposed to stop, and he's like gonna help them out and whatnot. And he's also explaining to Klein that he is paying his workers so much more than the people in Backlund. Instead of 8 solely, he pays them 10 or even more. And he's like, I think I've done enough, And Klein explains to him, sir, my good dude, I know you're trying your best, but for a poor person, missing a single day could cost them a lot, not to mention a whole week of work. So maybe he should start adding paid time off into his system. Why didn't Klein suggest that? I actually am wondering about that. And also Klein asked him, why don't you install equipments in your factories that can protect the workers? And Sir Deweyville was like, well, it's going to be hard. It's gonna cost me more than I can handle, and I'm already doing all of this other stuff for the workers. And also, he's like justifying himself, and he's like saying, oh, there's like some factories that actually hire slaves to minimize the cost. And I was like, dude, that doesn't matter. You should. Oh my god, he's just justifying himself on why he's not why he didn't buy protective gear for his workers, which I understand it's gonna cost him more, but at the same time you need to start somewhere. So Klein was like, there must have been something that triggered your guilt. And I thought maybe it's actually because he started seeing that psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist triggered that guilt for him, because he doesn't actually remember Haley, who died in front of his carriage. So oh yeah, her name is Haley, the fourth one who died. I called her Lafayette previously because I kind of forgot. There was another girl who died and her name was Lafayette, and that name just stuck in my head. But her name was Haley Walker. Not related to Alan Walker, by the way. So Klein was like, do you know a girl named Haley? And Sir Deweyville was like, how do you know that? So he's like, Sir Deweyville's like, is this his hypnosis stuff? Is this hypnosis shenanigans? But Klein didn't really give a direct answer, and he just went on and explained that he feels guilty for Haley's death, and not that Haley is haunting him. And Sir Deweyville was like, yeah, but I compensated her parents. And Klein's like, yeah, that's not enough, my dude. That's not enough. So Klein suggested 2 things that he should do to stop feeling guilty, and one of them is to actually get Haley's parents and compensate them more. You know, even though he already compensated them, like he actually paid for Haley's burial and I think gave them a little bit of money. Klein was like, you need to give them more, dude. Otherwise, Haley will continue haunting you. Though he didn't say that Haley was going to continue haunting him because Sir Deweyville doesn't know that Haley's ghost is attached to him, right? So, second thing that Klein wants him to do is to spread information about the dangers of lead, and also if he becomes a member of the parliament, he should enact a law about this, like so that people is more protected and stuff like that. And I was like, so he is trying to become a politician, so there is a lot of chance for him to actually meet Lady Sharon. Like, what if he becomes one of those people who get hypnotized by her and he doesn't do this law enactment thing, and he actually, you know, I don't know, he becomes evil instead of being like this nice philanthropist guy. And Sir Deweyville is like, you want me to go into politics and do this law? Like, are you right in the head, Klein? Like, it's going to be hard for competition and for like the country of Tingen to keep up with everything if he does that, right? And you know, I was thinking, you need to start somewhere. You need to be the lead man. You need to do this somehow, you know. So then Klein was like, you know, I'm just suggesting stuff. And Sir Deweyville stands up and he calls for his butler, whose name is, by the way, is Cullen. And you know, the first time I read that his butler's name is Cullen, I was like, Edward, is that you? Imagine if the Cullens are actually in this world, like the Twilight vampires, and I was like, maybe it's actually Carlisle. You know, before he became the Doctor in Twilight, he was a butler for Sir Deweyville. So the butler went ahead and brought in Haley's parents, and Klein saw that they are so much more haggard than they used to be, and apparently they don't even live in like the lower streets anymore. So I was like, where do they live now? Because the Iron Cross Street, I think that was where Klein used to live, right? That was already like a really bad place. So where are they living now? So Sir Deweyville gives Haley's parents 300 soli, I think, 300 soli to compensate them, and they're like, oh my god. No, this is too much. And all I was thinking was, why did you give them so much money in front of your servants? Like, yes, in front of the, what's his face? The police officers too. And they were all looking at them in envy. They're all looking at them full of envy because they don't even earn that much a year, you know? And he's just giving it to them as a compensation because he's filthy rich. And I was thinking, you know, that is the worst thing you can do. Give them that much money out in the open with so many eyes to see, because they are definitely going to get robbed and then killed. Because how high are the chances that one of these servants, or even his butler, I don't know, but one of his servants would go find this family and rob them of everything and then murder them? The chances are pretty high, you know? So he did just that, and then Haley's ghost was satisfied and left for the beyond. And then Sir Deweyville turns over to Klein and was like, okay, everything's clear now, but this does not explain how my servants also heard the moaning and sobbing, right? So Inspector Tolle, who knew about the Beyonder stuff, was like nervously looking at Klein. He's like side-eyeing him and was like, okay, bro, Like, how are we gonna explain this? How are we gonna explain this without explaining the Beyonder stuff? And Klein was just like, sir, in psychology we call this phenomenon mass hysteria. And I was like, that's such a good explanation, bro. Klein, you are so smart. That's such a good explanation. I love you, Pookie. Your brain is just mwah. Okay, so chapter 92 starts with Sir DeWeeville asking about mass hysteria and everybody being confused about that, because I'm guessing that they actually never heard of the term before. So it must be a modern thing that even Roselle didn't, tell people. So Klein also has, it's stated here that Klein knows that he has a habit of tapping the armrest with his fingertips calmly. And I was like, so that's a thing he really does in real life and not just when he's acting as the fool. And he explained this mass hysteria thing to everybody. I'm gonna read it real quick because I don't think I can, paraphrase it. Humans can be fooled easily by their sensory organs. Mass hysteria is a kind of psychogenic illness that is a result of tense nerves and other factors among a group of individuals as they influence each other. People are still confused of what he was talking about, so Klein gave an example about, some guy puking at a banquet and thinking he got food poisoning, and he started telling it to other people, and all those other people were like, oh my god, I think I also have food poisoning because of this. And they all went to the doctor, and the doctors were like, no, you guys are just, you guys didn't do anything. It's not food poisoning. So that's the example he gave, right? And Sir DeWeeville was like nodding, and he's like, you are the best psychiatrist I've ever been to. So this means that Sir DeWeeville has went to several psychiatrists, right? And there is a high chance that one of those psychiatrists that he went to could have been a Beyonder that cursed him somehow. I was told at some point in one of my reaction videos that Megos was actually, kind of tag teamed between her fuck-ass fiance, who was what was he again? He was a scoundrel, that's for sure. He's a scamming asshole, and another psychiatrist, and she stood no chance. She was like cuckoo at the end of it. So there is a chance that this same thing could happen to Sir DeWeeville. I'm just saying, except for the pregnancy part, But who knows? Actually, I heard there's mpreg in this novel. So Sir DeWeeville said, I understand now. Humans do lie to themselves easily. It's no wonder that Emperor Roselle once said that a lie would become reality once it was repeated 100 times. So Roselle basically told them, fake it till you make it, bros. Fake it till you make it. So afterwards, Klein left, and he was in a carriage with one of those surgeons and Inspector Tolle. And Inspector Tolle was like, you know what? I almost believed you were a real psychiatrist, like a real psychological expert. And Klein looked at him with like this dead expression and forced a smirk on his face, and was like, I only had some experience with it in the past. So I am guessing, is it possible that Zhou Mingrui is a psychology student? Is that possible? Is that a thing? Because why else would Klein react like this? So Klein went back to the Nighthawks and reported to Captain Dune, and Captain Dune was like, oh, okay, that's great. Congratulations on becoming an official member. So this is a test that he had to do, and a test that we did not see at all in the Donghua. So Captain Dune was like, congrats, we should celebrate. And Klein was like, yeah, that will be great. Let's have, lunch, dinner, whatever, tomorrow, please, because I used up my spiritual energy and also my spiritual side. I used a lot of energy to, do this, clear this. clear this case. And Captain was like, yeah, that's understandable. And Klein asked if he could have the afternoon off, and Captain Dune was like, yeah, easy, easy, you can. And and then Klein explained that Sir Deweyville gave Haley's parents 300 pounds, not 300 solely, 300 pounds. And Captain Dunes, the logical, brilliant man that he is, was like, that's not good. And he's like, you said that they gave him so much money. Bro, give me their address, and I am going to have Kenley send them over to like a different country or a different city to start anew, because their lives are in danger. And I was like, thank you, Captain Dunes. You are so logical. Thank you. So Klein did that, and then he went home, got some rest, took a nap, whatever, and then he got ready to enter the divination, the tarot club, the the gray fog place, the tarot club members, to meet up with the tarot card members. Oh yeah, he also explained to I keep saying Sir Dune, because I've been saying Sir Deweyville this whole goddamn time. So he told Captain Dunes that he also wants to go to the divination club to see how they react to the news of Hannah's Vincent's sudden death. And I'm guessing that Vincent is actually the guy, the tarot member card, not the tarot member. Oh my god, what am I talking about? He was the guy who was after Klein and used Melissa's friend, right? That's him, the one who lost the fingers. So it's like, yeah, I wanna go to the divination club and see how they react. So Captain was like, yeah, that's totally fine. And then then Klein went ahead and prepared to meet Audrey and Algar in the gray mist area. And Audrey was like excitedly getting ready, and she's like, oh, what if Susie actually joins the tarot club meeting? And she was like, okay, here, let me read this. I wonder if Mr. Fool would allow Susie to enter that mysterious space. Then there will be 4 members in the tarot gathering, and all of them will be Beyonders. No way, Susie can't talk. If they were to let her express her opinion and share her thoughts, what would she do? Woof, 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 howl, howl? Ew, why am I mimicking a dog's bark here? Just imagining such a scene feels really strange. A mysterious and solemn gathering with the sudden barking of a dog. Mr. Fool would definitely kick us out of the tarot gathering directly. Yeah, like, I don't think Klein would do that, but he'll definitely tell Audrey that, yeah, maybe a dog is not the best to have here in this solemn gathering. But yeah, so I'm guessing here Susie still hasn't learned how to talk, because in the Dongwa Susie was talking. And then we have a scene with Algar Wilson, the sailor, and he was basically I don't think he was really looking forward to the divination club, to the tarot club gathering, because he's like terrified of Klein, because he thinks Klein is like this otherworldly god, right? So it's like, okay, time to drink some alcohol or whatever it is that he's drinking to calm my nerves, So he drank that, and that's how the chapter ends, as he puts on his mask of calm and stoicism. Yeah. I'm really surprised by how long this video is right now. Again, this is the first time I'm doing something like this, and I actually thought I can get through like maybe a 45-minute video, make a 45-minute video, and it'll take me, it'll get me to 10 chapters. I was thinking 45-minute video equals 10 chapters, but turns out I yap so much that one chapter is like 10 minutes of my quick summaries. Like, I didn't even go through everything that I want to talk about, because again, there was this first chapter chapter 90, I actually recorded myself reading through it and also my reactions to everything. And I'm like, it was 30 minutes long, okay? So imagine just me doing the whole series with just 30 minutes of me reading and reacting. That's too much. So I decided to do this summary, and I'm like, okay, this is also this is also so much longer than expected. But yeah. it, I guess this is how it's going to be in the future. But I do hope that you guys enjoy it. Anyway, I'm going to plan to make at least 3 chapters summaries. Okay, if that's all right with you guys. We are now at the 3rd chapter, new diary page. So I'm guessing this is when Audrey and Alger gives Klein new diary pages from Roselle's journal. Okay, so chapter 93, we start off with Audrey greeting Klein, well, Mr. Fool, with a bow and congratulating him on the successful trial, meaning that he was able to contact them. You guys know how that happened in the Donghua. And she was like, oh, it's too bad there's no wine here, right? So that they can toast. So I was thinking, well, technically Klein can create wine out of nothing in that tarot card meeting, right? He can actually open up a feast for everybody. He can make the table be filled with food and wine and whatnot if he wanted to. But he doesn't want to because he wants to keep it classy, I guess. Yeah, and then Audrey was like, okay, Mr. Fool, I got another diary page from Emperor Roselle over here, and that she still owes him 1 page. And Alger apologized, saying that he hasn't found any new pages because he was away from land that week. And Klein was like, chill, bro. It's no issue. It's not the big issue, because he was like, this thing, the collecting of Roselle's diary pages, I knew that it would take long. So it's not bad, no biggie. So then Klein started reading without emotion, as it says here. He is not reading it out loud though. So I was thinking at first, I thought, was he reading this out loud? But then I continued reading the novel, the chapter, and realized that no, he was actually just reading it in his mind. I am going to read a passage of Roselle's diary because I feel like it's very important. So I'm just gonna read it out loud, okay? July 9th. I suddenly thought of an interesting question. Since the sequence pathways are also called the blessings of the divinities or paths of the dive, then why would the stone slates that records the completed 22 sequence pathways be called the blasphemy slate? Blasphemy. What an interesting term. Just who is the one who blasphemed? That is a very good question, Roselle. And who created the blasphemy slate? That is also a very good question. Who did that? Was it Klein? Do we have time travel shenanigans going on over here? How could that person hold all of the sequence pathways? Just what other information was on the stone? I really want to see it. July 12th. I realized another fact today. The sealed artifacts are an important component of a church's overall strength, even though some of the sealed artifacts are very, very dangerous. Among the 7 churches, the god of craftsmanship wields the least number of sealed artifacts, which are also relatively less dangerous. Did I join an organization without a future? No, I shall think of it this way. Only a blank piece of paper can produce a good painting. A weak organization is the best place for me to display my abilities. Think positively, Roselle. It's a rags to riches kind of story. You're the main character here. July 14th. I saw that mysterious Mr. Zaratul again. I never expected him to be the leader of an ancient organization, the Secret Order. So, we actually heard about Zaratul in the Donghua too. So, he must be really, really important that they didn't bother to gloss over him. Because I'm pretty sure this scene that we're reading on right now is actually something that happened in the Donghua, right? Just wondering which episode that was. Klein's pupils constricted when he read this. He nearly revealed an unnatural expression. So, the Zaratul family is connected to the Secret Order and the Church of the Evernight, and also they're the leaders of the Secret Order. And also they have the seer pathway, like all of the sequences to the seer pathway, right? So then we had this scene where Audrey looked at Klein and was like, oh shit, I shouldn't have looked at him. Stop analyzing him, and otherwise we will get smited? How? We'll get smited? Is that a word? I don't think so. Anyway, let's continue reading. After learning that I had become a savant, Mr. Zaratul mentioned that I had chosen a difficult yet relatively safe path. So, in this part, Roselle actually was just complaining about Zaratul and how Zaratul is being a mysterious seer and how he will punch every seer that he meets. Mr. Zaratul is like connected to the Antigonus family, and that he's asking Roselle to steal something from the Church of the God of Craftsmanship for him. So Roselle was like, yeah, bro, you gotta wait for that until I'm more higher up in the ladder, you know? So then Klein finishes reading the diary and was like, sorry for the wait, sorry for reading so slow. And Audrey was like, no, it's okay. And then Audrey asked where she can find a psychology alchemist, and Klein has no idea where. So Alger naturally steps in and says that you don't really need to know where the psychologists are right now. You need to digest your potion. And Alger was like, it takes at least 3 years to digest the potion and for you to stop hearing the murmurs and stuff like that. But then Klein was like, no, you actually only need at least, like for the lower sequences, right? You only need at least half a year. And if you're really, really good at the acting method, then it will only take you 1 month to digest, right? Because Audrey was like looking down already because she's like 3 years, that's way too long. But then Klein mentioned that and she's like, oh hell yeah. So Alger is like, what? Only that fast? That's crazy, right? Because, you know, Klein is kind of lucky in this sense because this information that he just shared was actually in the diary page that he was reading. And as usual, Roselle helped him out to stay a mysterious, powerful figure. So Audrey here says, 1 month. Great. Thank you, Mr. Fool. And Klein thinks this. Miss Justice, don't think that you are the chosen one. The key point is half a year. And oh my god, when I read that, I was thinking, oh my god, Klein, why are you so petty? Like, come on, dude. She's thinking positively. She wants to do it in 1 month. And he's like, girly pop, you're not the main character over here. I am. So Klein was thinking to himself, how can I ask these two about the Secret Order and the clown potion without hinting that I have no idea what's going on, that I'm a freaking noob? Alger spoke and said like, there's a listener from the Aurora Order that is searching for the traces of the true creator, right? And Audrey's like, who's the true creator? And apparently, it is an ancient entity worshipped by numerous secret organizations and cults. They believe that the creator hasn't completely perished. The core he left behind is the true creator. Alger was explaining that. He explains that the true creator usually appears in the form of the hanged giant or the eye behind the shadow curtains. He also explained that Emperor Roselle referenced the imagery of the true creator when he was creating the tarot cards. And that's where the existence of the hanged man came from. And when I was reading this, I was like, no, that's wrong. Roselle didn't invent the tarot cards, girl pop. So then Algar turns over to Klein and is like, there's nothing wrong with what I said, right? And Klein was like, is this guy testing me? So Klein was thinking, how can I dramatize this? So Klein was thinking, doesn't both the hanging and the shadows imply evil connotations? Just from, vibes alone, I guess. So Klein told Algar, I am more inclined to call him the fallen creator. You are so dramatic, Klein. But I guess he has to keep up his image. Anyway, this is where we will end our episode, the first ever read through of whatever this is. How should we call this series, guys? Art and yap? Art and read? I don't know. Give me suggestions, guys. I am very open to suggestions. I hope that you guys like this. If you've read Lord of the Mysteries already, then I guess this can be like something like a refresher for you guys, I guess. Unless you guys want to reread the whole novel again. But yeah, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay on the side, because I was like, what am I going to show on the second screen? Because I'm not doing anime reactions right now. So I was like, you know what? How about I record myself playing Wuthering Waves and just use that as a side content, so that whenever you guys are bored at looking at my artwork, you can just glance over to the side to me doing whatever it is I'm doing in Wuthering Waves. Also, side note, Wuthering Waves is the only game I'm playing. I have this thing where I can only really focus on one game at a time. Otherwise, I'll be like too overwhelmed and stop playing. That's what happened with Genshin Impact. I got too overwhelmed and then I stopped playing, and now I'm just playing Wuthering Waves. Anyways, again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my summaries, I guess, and reaction to the Lord of the Mysteries. If this is fun, if I enjoy doing this, actually I might do other novel reviews, light novel reviews like this, if of course you guys want me to. But let's focus on Lord of the Mysteries first, right? Because there's like thousands of chapters for us to go through, and I'm only at chapter 93. I almost forgot to mention this, but the artwork that I'm working on right now is actually an adoptable character. It's already done. It took me a while to finish it, and I have a lot of footage for it. And I thought, you know what? How about I use half of the footage per video for the light novel reviews? Okay, so if you guys are interested in this character, and you want him to become your OC, then feel free to check out my VGen. He's available right now, and yeah, that's about it. Before I go, please leave a like, subscribe, and a comment. It helps my channel out a lot. Check out my webcomic Dreaming of Aurora if you have the time. And finally, thanks to my patrons Robek, Vanarik, and Jval Javalitska for the support. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!